Hey everyone, welcome to Thursday at noon Eastern Time. I am here for our weekly video talking about all things personal development. And if you are brand new to these weekly videos, if you're brand new to me, I am Andrea Owen, founder of Your Kick-Ass Life and author of this book, 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life. I wrote this book a few years ago and have decided to come to you weekly in your Facebook feed to go over a chapter a week. And I lost my place because my bookmark fell out. I know exactly what we're talking about. And that is non-negotiables. So what are non-negotiables, you might ask? Different personal development people might have a different answer for what that is, and I am going to talk about them specifically as they have to do with you and things that you have to have in your life that make you feel whole, that make you feel grounded, that make you feel alive and fulfilled and satisfied and happy. All of those things that we want to live, all of those things that make us really feel like we are having and living our own kick-ass life, right? All right, so if you are joining me here live, thank you. And even if you are watching the replay, hey, I would love if you dropped in where you're from, what the weather is like. Are you on the other side of the world where it's not spring? Or even just your favorite food emoji. How about that one? Mine is the taco or the hot dog, just because I like the emoji. But anyway, so let's talk about non-negotiables. They are a little bit, it dovetails really nicely about our, sorry, I got distracted by the comments. Please leave your comments. And Sarah was talking about how religion and spirituality are on her non-negotiables. I'm going to use that as an example, my dear. Thank you so much for leaving it. And if you have any questions, I will be sure and hit those up at the very end of the video. So a few weeks ago, I talked about values. And these are a little bit different. So your values are the things that are what are the things that are important about the way that you live your life? So again, for Syra, it might be your value might be around spirituality. For other people, it might be they have a value around courage or honesty or integrity. You probably have a list of them. And that's not exactly what these are, non-negotiables, but they're definitely related to them. When I talk about non-negotiables, I'm talking about the tangible things in your life that, again, are so important. So if you have a value, if you have one of your top values around spirituality, a non-negotiable might be for you that you have to go to a place of worship that is really meaningful for you. Like you have to have a community of like-minded spiritual people that help you connect to your spirituality practice. It might look different. Maybe yours is just that you have to have a morning spiritual practice. So that's what the non-negotiables are. And why are they so important? You know, why does it matter that we are talking about non-negotiables? And I made a short little list of why it's important in the chapter. And by the way, if you have the book, it's chapter 13 and I am on page 63. So all right, so why are non-negotiables important? Because getting clear about who you are and what makes you your best self is kind of why we're all here, right? And if you are your best self, other people understand that you honor yourself and they are more likely to honor you too. And not to mention, you are a role model for those people and you are more likely to help them help themselves. So let me make it even more clear. One, you know, when you are honoring and know your non-negotiables, you know what makes you happy. Number two, you do what makes you happy. There's a difference between just knowing and actually doing what makes you happy. Three, other people in your life see this and do the same for you. They tend to. And number four, other people have more respect for you in your life because you are more likely to set boundaries around your non-negotiable, hopefully. And number five, the world is a better place. So how do we find out what your non-negotiables are? Maybe you are someone who you're not even really sure what your values are. I encourage you to go back and either read chapter 4 of my book or watch the video about values. Do a Google search on, Google how to find my own personal values. Do that work. For me, it's foundational in all of the coaching that I do with either if I'm in classes or if I'm teaching classes or working privately with someone. We always do values because it's a foundation of your happiness and your fulfillment. So if you don't know, Don't beat yourself up. Don't feel bad. I talk to a lot of people who have never done this type of work before. But of course, I have a few questions for you to help you find them. So if you have a piece of paper, if you have the Notes app on your phone, if you want to get some lipstick and write it on your arm, whatever works for you. If you want to save this video and watch the replay later so you can answer these questions, these are great journaling questions. Or even if you just want to, off the top of your head, what are they? And if they come to you, please, please, please leave them in the comments. So the first question is, what do you do that makes you feel most alive? What do you do that makes you feel most like you? So it might be that you practice spirituality. It might be that you exercise on a regular basis. It might be that you spend quiet time alone in order to tap into your inner wisdom, your inner voice, your inner intuition, inner wise woman, whatever you want to call it. Maybe, again, the question is, what do you do that makes you feel the most alive, the most like you? Maybe it's that you find humor every day, that you laugh every day. So if days go by and you haven't had, like side-splitting laughter, you start to feel want and you don't feel like yourself. So answer that question. What do you do that makes you feel most alive, the most like you? Second question, what, when missing, makes you feel simply not good? This is very similar to the first one, but sometimes it's helpful to reword the question in order for you to kind of uncover more layers and pull things out that you might have missed. Again, the question is, what, when missing, makes you simply feel not good? All right. Third question, when you can't do something you had planned and you feel angry or irritated by the interruption, what were you doing? So maybe it is, I might be out of examples at this point. Maybe you had planned that you were going to go on like a girls' weekend or something, and it got interrupted and you couldn't do it and you just feel crushed. So maybe that non-negotiable is that you have to have that like that human connection, that girl time, those kinds of friendships, the people that you have around you that truly see you and accept you for who you are. Maybe that's your non-negotiable. So it's important to know what these are so you can go out and do them. So you can, that's why they're the reason that I call them that, because they are not negotiable in your life. You make them a priority. They are not something where you get into a new relationship and your new partner is like, I really don't like that you have to spend one night a week with your girlfriends. Or, someone you are friends with doesn't, they poo-poo or they judge your spiritual beliefs, or that you have these practices. So these are things that are so incredibly important to you. That's why it's important to know them, because they make you. Okay. Another thing that I was just thinking of, this week I was having a conversation with a client and we were talking about non-negotiables in relationships. So you can have these non-negotiables that are, like the overview for your life, but I definitely think it can be really helpful for you to break down parts of your life and have a list of what are the non-negotiables in your relationships, like in your romantic relationships, or what are the non-negotiables in your friendships. They might be very similar, but slightly different. This is important because these are, again, this is like you. This is you. This is who you are. And when we don't know them, we can get lost, and then we're in this relationship and we can't figure out why it is that we don't feel good, why it is like, well, maybe I'm putting up with something, but I'm not sure. And we're making excuses for the relationship. We're making excuses for that other person. And that's where things get really sticky. And then we get in this habit, and then we're in the relationship for a long time. And oh, maybe it'll get better, and oh, I don't want to start over, and I don't want to break up with this person, and on and on. Like, raise your hand if you've been in that situation that never feels good, right? I have been in that situation more than once. So it's important to know your non-negotiables in your relationships. They might be really obvious ones, like, I don't want to be with somebody who's dishonest. I don't want to be with somebody who lies to me, or who I become suspicious of. A non-negotiable might be that you want somebody who has the same political views and moral beliefs that you do. Maybe it's not as important for you. It doesn't, none of them are wrong or right. They are unique to you. Okay? One more thing about non-negotiables before I jump over to the comments is that they might very well change depending on the season that you are in your life. It might depend on the season of the year. Who knows? But what it was a non-negotiable for you when you were in your 20s very well might not be a non-negotiable in your 30s. They will shift and change just as your values do, just as you do. So it's okay if you need to let one go. Be careful where you're making it mean something about you or anything for that matter. It's okay. You evolve as a human being. So do your values. So do your non-negotiables. All right? All right. So I'm going to jump over to the comments, and Di is from Clovis. Di, you were here last week. And Sarah, you also have I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You have a non-negotiable around authenticity. I bet that is one of your values too. So what I would ask you to do on that one is, because I would kind of categorize authenticity as a value. So be more specific about that. So what are the behaviors around authenticity that are non-negotiable to you? So is that your authenticity, or is that the authenticity of the people around you? If it's your authenticity, maybe it's that you have to be able to, I don't know, maybe you're a songwriter and you have to be able to write songs that are from your experiences deep in your heart. So do you see what I'm saying there? Like it's really helpful for you to get super specific. That way you're just more clear about what makes you happy and what makes you fulfilled. And then you hate people pleasing in a relationship. So, and again, I'm curious, like, is that like you hate doing the people pleasing, or you hate when somebody is a people pleaser for you? So I love how specific you're getting there. So again, these are just like, keep asking yourself these questions to get more and more clear on what it is that is truly important to you, what it is that makes you happy. So I think that's about it. I encourage you to read the book if you want to. Next week, we're going to be talking about communication, one of my favorite topics. And also, let's see, I'm here every Thursday at around noon. If you have any suggestions for these live videos, we still got a lot of chapters to cover, but I'm happy to answer your questions here on a live video. And I also have a podcast, if you don't already know, called Your Kick-Ass Life Podcast, where I interview awesome guests in the world of personal development, and I also do solo shows talking about my experiences and teaching tools on basically how to live your kick-ass life. I will drop the link to the podcast in the comments. I'd also love to do Q&A listener podcast episodes where you submit your questions, whether they're, kind of like vague questions, I'll answer those, but really I love answering your specific questions about what's going on in your life, because when you ask those questions, you are definitely helping other listeners, thousands and thousands and thousands of people listening. And of course they are anonymous. I'm not going to say, Di Malero and ask this question, and they are absolutely anonymous. So feel free to please submit your questions to us. I will pop in the link on how to do that as well. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. I love doing these videos and coming on and saying hi to you. So until next time, I will see you out in cyberspace. Bye-bye.